Hi, everybody. It's Mimi from Be Heard, Empower Yourself. And in today's episode, we are opening the door to the world of the caregiver, the unseen hero, the steady presence, the one who keeps showing up even when their own heart is breaking a little. And this conversation is not going to be about perfection, no way, or pretending it's easy. It's going to be about truth. It's about the weight, the courage, the loneliness, and sometimes the unexpected beauty that can live inside the caregiving journey. I am a caregiver. Nancy has experience with this also, and she can attribute her success to personal change and determination and joy. And hence, she created Women, Worth, and Wellness. Welcome, Nancy.
Thank you, Mimi. Thank you so much for this opportunity to have a conversation with you and your guests.
Thank you. I love that you're here. You know, um, this situation with caregiving, it's the individual experience it and how you handle it and how you try to get your help and take care of yourself is one thing. But the bigger thing that people don't often talk about is that sometimes the family does not want to see it as serious as it is. And that can be frustrating. So when you first stepped into the role of caregiver, um, what changed for you internally that you did not expect? And you
Well,
want
what,
to share about what caregiver really was. Sure.
right. One of my things that I try to focus on frequently is that you give more than you take. And sometimes when you're a caregiver, you have the right intention. You've got tons of compassion. You really care about the other person. But sometimes it's really, really difficult because that other person is not receptive to what you're offering. Not because of anything to do to you or about you. It's because they're angry or disappointed or upset with their own situation at the moment. And that's what makes it really, really difficult to be a compassionate caregiver. So
Yeah.
sometimes you just kind of have to step back from the situation, never give up, never give up. It's going to be, you will be treated negatively, which is not what you expect when you want to give more than you take.
Oh,
But don't give up on that person because really, from a humanity standpoint, you are making a difference.
oh my. And you just have to learn how to navigate that emotional duality that they know they need the help, but they don't want it, and you know they need the help, and you know that sometimes they resent you for that.
Correct.
That's what I find a lot.
Mhm. Yes. No, that's true. That's true. I mean, it's a common aspect of each of our lives that we're always looking at others and thinking that we would love to have what they have. When
Mm,
in fact, the best thing you can do is focus on yourself and find a way to enhance your own life however you can. And one of the ways is to help others.
yes, it is. And I found when I got depressed, 2020, when was the pandemic? 2020.
2020,
Okay.
2020.
Sometimes
Actually,
I
it was
go,
2019. Remember, it was
because they didn't
COVID-19.
tell us. They didn't tell us till well into 2020. Um, Depression set in for me because um, I have an autoimmune disease. I was recovering from breast cancer, blah, blah, blah. My husband with the Parkinson's. They weren't telling us a lot about it or how you even could get it. So we had to make the decision to bunker in our house, which a lot
Right.
of people did. And um, I have a history of chronic depression and anxiety disorder because of a lot of reasons. And I'm in sobriety for 35 years because
Wonderful.
one of the things I turned to was self-medicating with alcohol. But I know the signs of depression. I know them inside and out. Um, And when I saw I was getting depressed, being mean to my husband, I sought help online. I found a psychotherapist online. I'm still seeing her. Best thing I ever did. And she encouraged me to write my first book.
Wonderful.
Yeah, my first book was Raised by Wolves, Trapped by Demons. And
Wonderful.
the wolves were my parents because they were just those parents that wanted children that would work and bring money into the family.
Hmm.
They weren't the, oh, we're going to help you live a better life than we did, parents.
Wow.
So I had a very disappointing uh, childhood and teenage years. I wanted to go to college and be an English teacher. Not going to happen. So this wonderful counselor said to me, after four, when your husband starts getting into that sundowning phase, he doesn't talk and you start feeling the depression building up and the anxiety, go in your room, shut the door, and write something. And I said to her, Nancy, I'm not a writer. And she said to me, you want us to be an English teacher?
There you go. Right.
That was hysterical because, of course, I knew vocabulary. I had a big vocabulary. I knew grammar. I could spell, and the easiest thing to write was my life story. So I wrote that book, and that helped me a lot. So that brings us back to what you said. You have to have something for yourself,
Right.
you know, and that is the thing that a lot of caregivers don't understand. I know caregivers that give 100% to their husbands. And I say spouse and husbands and caregivers as if the woman is always the caregiver, but they mostly are.
Right.
They mostly are. And they don't get it. And I tell them, call me up and just go for coffee. You just have to, take that time for yourself. So, what do you think that part of caregiving, the thing that people don't understand, what do you think that is? Other people, they don't understand about the caregiving part.
Well, just how difficult it is. I mean, it's just wrought with emotions, yours and the person you're attempting to give some enhancement to in terms of their care.
Yeah,
And it just makes it really, really difficult and really disheartening and really sad.
yeah,
But at the same time, it is all part of humanity. We can't be all perfect all the time. And so this is an opportunity that you have to bring your best forward and be helpful. But at the same time, in order to bring your best forward, you need to be selfish for your own well-being. You need to be in the best possible state you can be, both from a health standpoint and a wealth standpoint. You don't want to be angry. You don't want to have regrets. You don't want to bring all that negativity to the situation of where you're trying to enhance another person's well-being. So the worst thing you can call a woman is that she's selfish, but I advocate that you be selfish, that you look after yourself first. Look after yourself first so that then you can go forward and add even more value than what you are um, lined up to do.
I was encouraged by my heart doctor, my psychologist, like all my doctors about my situations, right from the get-go, every couple months, go away without him. you know.
Right, right, right.
And I was amazed at how many family members, mostly on his side, of course, the in-laws, thought I was this selfish woman to do
There
that.
you
How
go.
could she leave him
Yep.
and go to the Bahamas? How could she leave him and go to Key West? And not to my face, but of course that attitude,
Whispering.
we got it back behind my back.
Right.
You find out. And that's was kind of a quiet loneliness because you don't feel like people understand what's going on. And my therapist always says, Mimi, why do you have to have everyone like you? Everyone's because I get hurt. I get hurt they think that, you
Of
know.
course.
Yeah, but it is such an amazing thing, even 3 days to just breathe, not have to check if he's on the floor, making sure he's not chewing big bites of food, that he's using his walker. I mean, the tension is
Intense,
24/7.
intense, intense.
It's
Let me share something with you. When I first started into the wealth management business, I
Mhm.
became part of a program called the Strategic Coach. And the two things that he emphasized, one is understand what your uniqueness is and find a way to bring it forward. As soon as you know what it is, put a trademark on it. The next thing is you really, really need to know how to manage your time exceptionally well. And
Yes.
he had you focusing and breaking down your whole week and year into three categories.
Mhm.
And one was free days, buffer days, and focus days. And
Oh,
he felt that the most powerful aspect of all those days is your free days, because your focus days are when you do what your job is to do. The
mhm.
buffer days is when you plan for what you do. And the free days is when you just go away like you did, because that's when your whole mind goes to another level. And he said more often than not, you will get your best aha moments during those free days because your brain has been released
Yes.
to think about other possibilities.
Yeah.
So, more free days, that's what he said. More free days are going to help
Mhm.
you be even more successful.
Yes. And then and that's it. So I had to get in a position where I have to say, I don't care what they think. I know what our life is like. And
Right.
I would love to take him on a cruise with me like we used to, but then I'm
Yes.
still a caretaker. Then
Right.
I'm
Right.
not on the cruise for the reason I need.
Right.
Um, so it's a very hard thing to make those decisions for yourself,
Right.
especially when I've always been a caretaker and a problem solver my whole life.
Right.
I'm used to it. I fell into this so easily. And I'm I find myself a joke teller. That's my coping mechanism. Everything I make into a joke. I'm always telling jokes and puns and doing little things. And he doesn't even smile because he has the Parkinson's face.
Right.
But I still go into my cheerleader mode, and it makes me laugh. So it's
I know.
okay. Just wanna,
Well,
you know.
even in a tragic situation, there's often humor.
Oh
And,
yes.
and you don't need to be embarrassed or hard on yourself when you find the humor in that tragedy.
Oh no, and I always say sometimes I'll say to my friends, "Oh, I have this dark humor because I can find humor in anything, and that
Yes.
saves me." But once in a while, I'll actually get a smile from him.
Perfect.
And I'm like, "Oh,
Perfect.
success. I'm a success."
Right.
But that's, we don't disagree on too many things now. In the beginning, with Parkinson's, there's a lot of denial in the person. And when he needed a walker, I bought him a walker and it sat in the corner for 2 years, holding up the wall. Would
Right.
not sit. He would fall. He would fall a half a dozen times in the house for that month. He would
Wow.
fall outside. He would fall here and there. And no. So finally, he was using a cane, went to a cane. And the one day he fell at church.
Oh my.
When he fell in church in front of all these people,
Oh my.
he started using the walker.
Oh my.
He had to be hit a bottom himself. It's just
Yes.
like an
Yeah.
addiction. And I have found in every phase, grab bars in the house, bed railings, uh, pads for the chairs and the bed, and all of these things. Every time
Right.
I do it, it's like, I don't need that. I don't need
Right.
that. And then, of course, he'll need it. You know,
Yes, exactly.
I actually got him, you might have seen them. It's called a trapeze, goes over your bed.
Okay. Yes.
because he had a lot of trouble with mobility, getting
Right.
in and out of
And
bed,
then,
moving around. And he was like, no, that's not going to work. No, no, no. You know,
mhm,
and I ignore him as usual. And I tell him, I just ignore you because in the end, I'm always right. So
right.
I got the trapeze. Oh, I'm a strong woman. I got the trapeze. And the program I have him in, which I found, which is wonderful because he goes to a day center 5 days a week.
Good.
And he goes from 9 to 2 or 3. And at night, 6 nights a week, they send him a caregiver for 2 hours, give him a shower, sit and watch TV so I can go in the other room and do this kind of stuff. Um, and he loves her. And that made a big difference. Well,
Yes.
the people that run the program and that they sent their physical therapists, their occupational therapists. I said, no, you can't have a trapeze unless you have a hospital bed. I said, no, I'm not turning our home into a hospital. I mean, I know I have grab bars and different things, but that's going too far. We have an adjustable bed. And I found a man that was able to install it to the headboard and mount it on the floor. So they came back to see it and they were amazed.
Wonderful.
And these are people who do this occupationally, right?
Yes.
And at first he was like, and then the very next day he woke up and he said, that really helped me last night.
Wow. Well, good for you. I mean, you get AAA stars, many, many, many stars for your perseverance.
Yeah.
Perseverance. And to the caregiver's point, they're so busy focusing on their jobs that sometimes they don't see the opportunities the way you did and came up with better ways to look after this person.
Well, I did have a little, life. I say this on all my shows, no matter what the topic is. I didn't have a wonderful childhood or early adulthood, which is what's in the book. And I call that the black period. And then I had a gray period when I was trying to find myself and get out of this awful pit. And then I finally found the light and, got sober and then found a spiritual life. However, when I was in the gray period, I went to college and I became a teacher to teach people with disabilities how to live independently. Now, how
Wonderful.
ironic is that?
Right, right, exactly.
The universe said, get her ready.
Yes, exactly. It's truly amazing.
The ironic, and it's so true. So I know about alternative things, and my mind works that way because of that. So, uh, and this show, my podcast, my books, my YouTube channel, they are all to empower men and women, you know,
Correct.
and able to get over these things, or if they already have, to share with us how they did.
Right.
That's my mission. And that keeps away the depression and that
Of
brings me
course.
life, which is what we're talking about. And
I-
Nancy, what did caregiving, now that's what I learned. So what did caregiving teach you about love and
Well,
the
again, to give
patience?
more than you take, because I think sometimes it's a privilege to be a caregiver because you're forced to bring forward a lot of your uniqueness that you may not have known existed.
Yes.
I was on a no, I'm sorry, Forbes women's webinar, and Demi Moore was one of the guest speakers. And she said, life happens for you. So, in other words, stuff is put in front of you
Yes.
that you hadn't expected, you certainly hadn't planned for. And it's now, okay, what are you going to do? What part of you is going to respond to what has been put in front of you? And
Absolutely.
so either you rise to the occasion or you head for the hills, but one way or another, there's life happening for you
Oh,
to
I know.
pick it up and do your best with it.
Of course. And I moved to Florida almost 22 years ago. And the people that I made friends with here, when they read my life story, um, they were like, amazed
Right,
that I am who I am today.
right.
And they were like, Mamie, we had to put that book down because we were crying because we know you.
Wow.
So when one of your ex-husbands was trying to beat you up or,
Yep.
torture you in some way, and we know you. And then they said the transition and what you had to go through to get there, like they were just stunned. And then the funny thing is, they said, and then we turned the page and you'd make us laugh.
Wonderful. Perfect.
It,
Laughter's invaluable. Laughter is
it
absolutely invaluable.
really is. And but that's the thing. I had to find in my life what would work for me. And
Right.
sitting in a bar drinking and being with the wrong men was not
Yep.
the way.
No,
No, it was
no, no.
and I actually went to college later in life because I believe when you want something, no matter what, you will get it.
Right.
And I had a 3 and a 4-year-old and a deadbeat husband that did not pay child support.
Awful.
And thank God the government,
Helped.
welfare, food stamps paid for college.
Wonderful.
So I say anything you want about America or whatever, but they got me college.
Wonderful.
Daycare, which I could have never done. And that's just it. You say, okay, I have no money. I don't have anybody to watch the kids, what? And then you have to go looking. And I have friends that, I'm 77 and some of them are younger. Most of them are a little younger, maybe a couple are older. And they always say, oh, I'd love to do a podcast. Oh, I'd love to do a book. I said, oh, really? How far are you with your book? Well, I know what I want to write. I said, have you written anything down? Well, no, but it's in my head.
Yeah.
I
Well,
said,
get started.
do you have a computer or something to type on? No, but I could get one. I said, listen, you have to get the tools first.
Correct.
Write a book until you get the. I mean, they crack me up. It just,
Right.
yeah. Everybody wants to write a book. Everybody wants to have a podcast, but they don't do the prerequisites that you need to do.
Mhm.
And you know that because
Right.
you've written and do you have a podcast? I forget. Do you?
No, I've just been interviewed on a whole raft of them, but I don't have my own.
And have you found, because I've been interviewed on the 8 or 9. Do you find that the styles are quite different?
Quite different. Quite
Uh-huh.
different. Yesterday afternoon, I was on with one. It was a couple. I don't think they're a life couple. They're a business couple.
Mhm.
She is in San Diego. He's in Utah. So we've got two people. And their whole focus is on compassion. And they call their listeners compassionators.
Oh,
Anyway, away we went. And we were laughing like crazy
that's good.
because I said, they said, what's your MO in terms of how you live your life? I said what I said to you, which is give more than you take.
Yes,
And I said, if you see somebody without a smile, give them one of yours.
that's a
And I
great
said,
thing.
sometimes if I'm feeling really frisky, I'm out in public and you look at somebody and you really look at them. And then they look back at you like, do I know you? Am I missing something here? Anyway, this Mark said, that happened to me today in the post office. He said, there is this woman who's got the grumpiest look on her face. And he said, I just focused on her. She looked at me and I smiled. And she looked at me like, do I know you? But
Yeah,
then she's smiling. So the simplest thing can make some more joy for you and for whoever else is in your midst.
I love when I have to go to a doctor's appointment or dentist or anywhere I
Right.
have to go. Get me out of the house where I am alone with my husband. And I love him dearly, but he doesn't get it anymore. He just his mind is not the same. And he was a teacher. I mean, he was not a dumb man.
Wow.
So, I do the same exact thing. I talk to everybody, like,
Right.
on the elevator, whatever. But
Perfect.
I also kind of scan their body language first.
Hmm.
And if they seem shut, I can tell if they're shut off, like really
Yes.
shut off. And then I sometimes don't say anything. Maybe I
No.
will. But then
Right.
there's other people that I can open right up to, and that's
Correct. Yeah.
wonderful. And yeah, and I just make my doctors laugh. Everybody thinks I'm so funny because I am funny and I want to be funny.
Correct.
Even though
That's-
I have gone through breast cancer and I actually destroyed part of my body being a caretaker. Because what we do, and I'm sure you found this true, is all of a sudden your big strong husband that used to pick up the case of water cannot pick up the case of water. And what do? You pick it up.
Yeah.
I ripped my bicep, I broke it, broke my bicep, ripped up my
Wow.
rotator cuff. I destroyed my right shoulder.
Yeah. Too much.
I did a lot of physical things that I should not have done before I had help. Now I have help, you know. But
Perfect.
that's the other thing, women like us, we are strong, but we have to not over
Exactly. Exactly. Don't try to be a hero. Don't try to be a hero.
not Hercules, you're not.
No. Exactly.
And so you're
And ask for help. Often women don't ask for help
yeah,
because they do try to do it all themselves. So when it is too much, ask for help.
yeah. And it's it was very hard to ask for help from my children. And we'd go to visit when we could still visit. And my one daughter would say, he's not that bad. You wait on him. He could get a cup of coffee himself. And I'm like, okay. I said, watch what'll happen.
Good.
Honey, he'll get a cup of coffee. He'd spill half of it on the floor.
Yeah, right.
Like they
Yeah.
don't believe you. They don't want to believe you.
No, 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 exactly.
Oh, okay. I guess you have to get him the coffee. And then another one, she is very athletic, and she's like, "You should take him to the pool every day." I said, "Look at my husband was a swim coach. He was a competitive swimmer. He was a jock
Wow.
in high school,
Wow.
and he can't go swimming because it tires him out just to change into his swim trunks.
Right.
They don't get it. They just can't wrap their mind around it, the
Well,
change."
they've got busy lives, and
That too.
what they're doing is they're throwing solutions to you to pick up and work on, and you know what will work and what won't. So you're thankful that they're at least thinking of possibilities, but at the same time, they're not there to experience the reality of it all.
No, they aren't. And so recently, I've had two of them so far spent time with him alone, and they got the full experience. But
Yes.
unfortunately, the one who's my stepdaughter, but I raised her um, for various reasons since she's 13. And I always felt that she was my daughter. I would say,
Wow.
I would always say I had three daughters. I wouldn't say I had a stepdaughter. And she's freaked out and she does not think I'm capable of taking care of him
Wow.
because she's scared.
Right.
She's scared. So now we have a little drama going on there.
Yep.
I mean, it can get ugly
It
with
is. Well, definitely can.
yeah,
So you've got to be 360 at all times.
it too. That
At
you
all times.
you're not doing enough or they don't think you're capable of doing anything. It's
Right.
really hard. Uh,
Yes.
now, who were you a caretaker for? Was it a parent, a spouse, or just the business of caretaking?
A parent, but
Mhm.
then also a brother.
Ah,
And both of them, I wasn't the primary caregiver every single day, but I
mhm,
was definitely responsible for keeping in touch and adding the value that I could add when I did. My
mhm.
dad was terrific. Well, they both were terrific. I mean, they're father and son, and they both had the same attitude. And their attitude is that life unfolds and life ends. And my dad, he was so funny. He died when he was 93. And
Oh,
he lived on I grew up on a farm and he lived in the farmhouse. He had a terrific sense of humor. At 90, he said, I'm going to continue to drive. I'm not going to ride with anybody else who is driving because they'll be taking me to places I don't want to go. And so he didn't drive very far, but he was still driving. But
oh,
at the end, his bedroom was upstairs and we wanted him to get a stair lift, a stairmaster or whatever. He said, to heck with that. He said, no sooner would you get it installed, I will die, and then you've got used equipment. And he said, and furthermore, I need the exercise. So
good
he'd
for
go up the
him.
stairs, the foot and then the other one, and then the foot and then the other one, and then
Good for
blah,
him.
blah, 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 blah. My brother, he was terrific. We always got along. I'm the youngest of four, and I
Mhm.
was supposed to have been a boy, but my husband and my brother became best friends and over like 50 years. So, really, really close. But he said this old age is for the birds, like really,
Yes.
because your body is just gradually shutting down. The car doesn't run you over and you're dead.
No.
It's just you're just gradually. So my brother was in long-term care, and of course he made friends with all of the caregivers, and they loved him
Yeah.
because he had a positive attitude given a
Yeah.
god-awful situation
Yeah.
and made them laugh now and again to the point where
Yeah.
they were willing to spend more time with him than
Mhm.
they might with somebody else. I mean, it's always a sad state of
Yeah.
affairs,
Yeah.
but you just have to make the most of it.
And something you said too, when you're young and your body's in good condition, your mind has not fully developed. They used to say, oh, it's 25 before it's fully, now they're saying 30.
Right.
So what happens? You can do all these things, but your mind is not at the point where you can think of the best things to do or your
Correct.
best potential. And then by the time you do, your body starts to fail you.
Exactly.
And it's not fair.
Exactly.
Not
No,
fair. But
exactly.
it's life. And
Yeah.
I have been told that I am very resilient. And I know I am because I know what life I had up to now. And even my doctors, when I have a surgery or something, they say, boy, you always come back fast. You're so
Wonderful.
resilient. And I said, I have to. I have to go home and take care of my husband. So,
Right, right, right. I have no
I go
choice.
with this. I have no choice. But things are better because I started asking for help.
Oh,
I
perfect.
I never like to ask for help. I wanted to be the helper, not the
Right.
helpy. You know,
Yes, definitely.
I was the oldest of four, the opposite of you.
Okay.
And my parents did some really things would be considered child abuse today. And at 5 years old, and my brother, who was like 9 months younger than me, they used to call it Irish twins.
Wow, exactly. Precisely.
And so we were almost the same age, but he looked up to me. And my next sibling, a boy, was born, and he was going to be 5 years younger than
Right.
me. And my mother had a big family and a lot of sisters, but they did not get along and they would have an argument, be mad for a year. It's like, I just, Italians, very, uh,
Right.
you know. And so my father worked nights and my mother worked days. And in those days, when you had a boy, they kept you in the hospital a little bit longer because they wanted to do the circumcision. And so that was their thinking.
Right.
And my parents, not telling us, or I had no conception of what was going on, they took my brother Joe and I to an orphanage
Oh my.
and had the nuns take care of us for 5 days.
Wow.
Now, I know how traumatic that was. I realized, but at the time, it was, what did I do wrong?
Right. 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 Why am I here?
Yes. And my father said, "Oh, you're only going to be here a couple of days because we have nobody to take care of you." No, I mean, my mother had this big family. So
Right.
I don't know who was mad at who or who was feuding, but instead
She
of,
didn't want to ask for help.
no, no. And I don't know if my grandmother offered it and was refused. That's not the part of the story that affects me. But that started abandonment issues with me and my brother.
Correct.
And
Yes.
my brother put me on a pedestal from that day on.
Wow.
Well, they separated the boys and the girls when we got there too.
Yes.
God. So, um, I told you my mother worked days and my father worked nights, and there was an hour in between where we would get home from school and be alone, you know.
Right.
But I was probably 6 or 7 at that time, and I had to take care of the kids that hour. So, of course, I'm a caretaker.
Right. Precisely. You were trained at a very early age.
Yes, yes. And
Right.
also ingrained that you better do it right or you might go back to the orphanage.
Right. Precisely. Precisely.
But everybody has a little something. I had a lot of little somethings, and I reacted wrongly a lot because I'm human, you know, and the fixes were much easier at the time, men drinking, etc.
Right. Right.
But again, finding the positive. Thank God I had depression
Yeah.
because the depression got worse because of the drinking.
Oh my.
And I did not recognize myself as an alcoholic,
No.
but I did recognize the depression.
Yes.
And I checked myself in to a rehab thinking it was a wellness center.
Mhm.
I didn't think it was a rehab at all. So there you go.
It ended up being a wellness center.
Yeah, no, it was a rehab for alcoholism and addiction.
Wonderful.
But
Yeah.
I knew it was a place where I owned a bar at the time too.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I knew people that when they used to get out really out of hand, they would go to this place and they'd come back and then they wouldn't drink as much or they wouldn't do
No.
drugs.
Right.
So I thought I was going to a spa.
Wow.
But the irony of that, it's a good thing I had depression and I knew I had a depressive type of state that I could go to because that took me to the right place
Right.
for the wrong reason, but the right place. And
Yes.
that's a story, so that the things that happen in life happen for a reason,
Yes.
even if they're terrible,
Correct.
you know. But when they're happening, of course, you can't see that, when
No,
they're
no, no, not at all. Well, life happens for you.
for you. And now I have been told by probably every single guest that my books, my story are helping so many people because
Wonderful.
if they're going through abusive marriages or
Right.
alcoholism or anything, they go, "Oh, she got through all that and now she's doing this."
There you go.
It's hope. That's hope. Well, this has been lovely. I always love talking to you. Our last time was lovely also.
We had a good time.
Oh yeah, we always do because we're honest people too. You know that's
Correct.
the difference.
Precisely.
No,
Precisely.
no sugar coating, no skipping over.
No,
We tell it like it is. So, Nancy, thank you for sharing your story and your heart and your unwavering beliefs that women can rewrite their relationship with their mindset, their well-being, and with money because I'm putting gas in the car now. I'm
right,
handling the books. I'm doing all the things that,
right.
you used to do, and I'm capable of it. And thanks to everyone listening, and may you carry toward the remainder of your task that your voice matters and that your choices matter, but your well-being is the foundation of everything you build on. So, do you have anything else to add to that, Nancy?
Just that everybody's life is their own treasure, and you really need to treat it like a treasure, like a special gift. And more, we must look after our health because we know we can't afford to be sick.
No, it's
So
not
make your
an
health the
option.
number one priority, and that includes your mental health and your physical health.
Mental health is so important.
Right.
Well, Nancy, until next time, keep choosing yourself, everybody. Keep nurturing your wellness and keep walking boldly into your worth. Thank you.
Stay vertical and keep smiling.
You got it, girl.